Big Chicken Morning Show with Jazzy McBee on V103, the ATL's number one for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks. Good morning, ATL. Jazzy. Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer from Ascend Medical, is in studio this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Doing great.
So we checked out Oprah's town hall meeting, if you will, last night. Conversation about Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro and all of that. Semaglutide. They're calling it a weight loss revolution. Would you characterize this particular drug as that?
Yes and no. Let's first say it works far better than anything else we've had to date.
Really?
You know, it is giving people back hope. Like Oprah said last night, that is true. It is really giving people back hope. But it is not a miracle by any way. And I would not call it a revolution, right? Because here's the thing that we need to make sure people understand. You still have to do the same work that you needed to do before. This is just really calming down what's going on upstairs in our brains so that we're not constantly thinking about food for those people who need that.
404-726-WVE. If you have questions about Ozempic, Mounjaro, all of these drugs, these weight loss drugs, call us right now.
So I know you said it's not a
revolution.
It's not a revolution, right? It's just so that you can get to the point where you need to be as far as dieting, exercising. Is this something that will actually mask that as far as people using this drug to not diet, not exercise? Is that what people are using it for today?
100%.
Really?
All right, here's the problem. Could you lose the weight by just taking the shot and not really working towards changing any of your habits? For sure. But that's the problem. It means either you're going to have to stay on the drug forever, and some people actually, that might be what you want to do. But if you're not establishing the habits of improving your eating and getting active, you're going to have a lot of complications from taking this medication that could, in the end, leave you actually worse off than before.
Really?
So what happens if the drug is just you don't have it, you run out of the drug? Then what happens?
It's not cheap either.
Right.
Whoa.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah. We'll talk about the price too. So if you ran out of the drug, what we're seeing is these drugs suppress hunger hormones. And so if you just happen to run out and just immediately stop it, it looks like those hunger hormones kind of come back in a rage. Like the hunger really gets to people. And when you haven't established any nutritional habits or other healthy habits to help counter that, we're hopeless. You know, we can't fight that. So that's why we really need to take advantage of this time when the semaglutide, et cetera, are really releasing us from that mental anguish of having to always think about food and giving us our time to actually establish those habits.
824 with the Big Chicken Morning Show with Jazzy McBee. Dr. Michael Smith, our Chief Medical Officer from Ascend Medical, sitting in with this morning. So you mentioned some of the side effects, which I've heard a variety, and then I've heard people that don't have any.
Yep.
What are some of the side effects, and is it overall, and I'm imagining I know the answer, but is this thing considered overall healthy?
Yeah, so let's talk about side effects. So for most people, the side effects are mild to moderate. Nausea, they're mostly gastrointestinal things. Nausea, diarrhea. Some people have constipation. Some people have vomiting, to the point. A few people that they actually just can't take the drug. Right. Most people do just fine, though, right? There are ways to manage that nutritionally. The great thing is the more healthy you eat, typically, the fewer your side effects. If you still go on this shot and you still eat a lot of the crap that you might have been eating before, chances are you're going to have more side effects. So that's how you deal with that, and your doctor can help moderate your dose if needed, whatever. There are rare instances of the pancreatitis, the stomach paralysis. You might have heard people talk about gastroparesis.
Stomach paralysis.
I know. I'm like, wait.
One of the ways that these drugs work, two ways. One, they work in the brain to decrease, or really on our reward center, so that we just don't think about food as much. We don't get that same kind of reward from eating it. The other way is it slows emptying of your stomach. Oh. And so in rare instances, there have been reports of that kind of being extreme, and we call it gastroparesis, but the more common term would be gastric paralysis, where your stomach just doesn't empty the food that's in there.
Wow, so it's just sitting. So another question would be, if it's blocking the sensor that makes you hungry, how is that healthy when you're not eating?
Well, keep in mind, this drug is really just activating a system in your body that gets activated every day when you eat. When we eat, so let's talk about these drugs. They're called GLP-1 agonists, which means GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide, exists naturally in our bodies.
Okay.
Right? So when we eat, levels of that go up. It suppresses our hunger naturally. The drugs act exactly the same way, probably just more effectively to that, even doing it at a higher degree. So is it healthy? I mean, we've actually had these drugs around for quite a few years. They're not new. They feel new because we all of a sudden in the last year we hear nothing but that. But they've been around for years. So as far as we know, they appear to be healthy.
Okay.
Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer, Ascend Medical, is sitting in with us this morning. Okay, so Ozempic is technically prescription medication for people with type 2 diabetes. It's one of the brand names for semaglutide, right?
Correct.
There's also Wegovy and Mounjaro. There was a time where apparently there was a shortage of it because I guess it got really popular and people who actually, quote unquote, needed it couldn't get it. Why is it so damn expensive?
So there are other options as well. Why is it expensive? It took, you had to talk to the drug companies probably to get
Ozempic was like $1,000.
It still is.
Whoa.
It still is.
That's $1,000.
$1,000 per shot, or is it?
You get 4 shots out of it.
Wow.
They're almost
this.
all over $1,000 a month, right? So it makes it so that if your insurance isn't going to cover it, most of us, except Hollywood, really can't afford over $1,000 a month for medicine. So there still are shortages. We really need people who don't meet the indications for the drug. Like people trying to get into a little black dress or people trying to get into their jeans. Keep in mind, there are risks with these drugs.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you're not at an increased risk of disease from being overweight, it is not worth that little bit of risk from the drug, right? You just don't have the benefit. So, but that's the problem, is a lot of people are taking it when they don't actually have an indicated need for it.
Right.
827. We want to hear from you. 404-726-WVEE. Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer from Ascend Medical, sitting in with this morning. We're talking about Oprah's special last night and the Ozempic semaglutide wave that's going on. Lots of people taking it, the cost of it. Any questions you have, we're here to answer them and get some of your answers for you right now. I'm going to talk about alternatives to that as well when we come back. But Dr. Michael Smith is with the Big Ticket Morning Show with Jazzy McBee on V103. 844, Big Ticket Morning Show with Jazzy McBee on V103, ATL's number one hip hop, R&B, and throwbacks. Little health situation developing, Jazzy. Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer, Ascend Medical, is our guest this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We are revisiting Oprah's conversation last night. I found it interesting as she talked to the CEO of Weight Watchers, who she used to be a part of, that Weight Watchers was like, oh no, we in the game too with the drugs now.
Of course.
Because it's inevitable, apparently. Weight Watchers was this whole thing where, they
dieting with food.
Health and wellness, and it was a team effort, and there's points and all this, but they can't fight the fact that this semaglutide, did I say it right?
Yep.
Okay, semaglutide and the Ozempics, the Mounjaros, the Wegovys is effective and is out here working. I'm going to ask you, as an alternative, we talked about the price point that was going around, and there are some now med spas and stuff offering this, but there's a place in Atlanta called IV Use.
Yeah, okay.
That's
a lot.
It's way less than $1,000 where you can get the semaglutide.
Really?
Yeah, you can get the shot. They're shot. It's just not branded Ozempic.
Right.
Is that an effective replacement for some people?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not exactly a generic because generics go through FDA approval and they go through that whole process. So what it is, it's a compounded version. So essentially they're taking the active ingredient.
That's terrible.
And they're taking the active ingredient and combining it with some like B12 or some kind of salt and putting it in an injection that you administer yourself. There were some reports earlier on that maybe there were more side effects than the brand, but we really haven't seen that play out. And we use it on a daily basis with our patients, and they're doing incredibly well. In fact, the side effects are quite low because we're making sure that they take the nutritional steps with our health coach to eat right to minimize those side effects. So we're really seeing great success from them. Now, they still have to be given under the supervision of a health professional, even at a med spa, right? There has to be someone there. But here's the thing. You want to make sure that whatever program you're doing, however you're getting the medication, that you have frequent interaction with someone who can truly help you through the process, both your health professional, but either a health coach or a nutritionist with frequent conversations with them, because this is, again, a journey of change. It's not a journey of take a shot and go. This is really one where you want to take advantage of the opportunity to create those changes that are going to really help you create lifelong health.
Love it. So I checked out your reviews, by the way. you have a lot of great reviews because we were talking about health and wellness, and I'm going on this journey myself, and it's really difficult. It's been difficult for me because I've always eaten the foods that aren't so good for me.
She love food.
I love food, and I love all types of food. But now I'm going into these stores and I'm reading my labels more, and all the foods that I love, you really cannot eat. Like, seriously, it's a lot of salt, a lot of sugar. So even taking the weight loss drug, you saying they need to eat, but what are they eating? What can they really eat on this journey?
Right. So here's what a lot of people are unfortunately doing. They're eating the same stuff, just less of it. So you're going to lose weight, right? But nutritionally, your body is not nourished. You're not creating health by doing that, other than, losing some body fat. So here's the thing that kind of is almost unspoken in this whole space is the rate of obesity has tripled in the last about 40 years. We were talking about this. So where the heck is all that coming from? And you hit the nail on the head. It is coming at least largely from our food supply. Right? Our taste buds, our brains have been inundated with foods that trigger us. Right? So we take a little bit, we want more, and we want more. We know that these foods that are often being produced, they trigger parts of our brain similar to drugs, right? I'm not saying they're addictive like drugs, but a lot of people do feel like they kind of have addictive proproperties.
Yeah, they really are.
It really does trigger people in that way.
Yeah, they really are.
404-726-WVEE. You got questions for Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer of Ascend Medical. Good morning.
Good morning, Tigger.
Hey, good morning.
103 cast. My name is Racia. I'm calling from Athens, Georgia, and I have a question because I've used the Mounjaro as well as not the Ozempic, but the other one, Wegovy, same family. And I am still suffering from gastroparesis. So my question for the doctor is it reversible? As a nurse, I try to help people lose weight, but I was in the seat where I need to lose weight, and I have type 2 diabetes, asthma, and everything else. But I got approved. I heard y'all talking about the price. I did get approved because of my comorbidities, but now I'm looking at longevity of a lot of health issues because of the medication. So my question is to the doctor, can it be reversed? Will I recover from the damage, or what's my other option?
Here's the truth, is time will tell. This is these side effects are new. And why we're seeing them more is because in studies, a fairly small number of people take these meds to test their safety. Now, millions of people are taking some, even when it's rare, like the gastroparesis, we're starting to see more of that. It is still rare, thankfully, and you're one of the very unfortunate few that seems to have experienced the extreme side effect there. Will it get better? We tend to think that it will get somewhat better. Will it go away? Unfortunately, probably not. But really, time will tell, and it differs from person to person. So unfortunately, I don't have a great answer for you. But the longer, you can, hopefully, the more time that goes by, your symptoms will improve.
Good morning, Charles in Kennesaw.
Hey, how you doing?
What's happening?
We're well.
Well, this question for the doctor. Are we assuming weight loss is the ultimate health marker?
So when I first saw these drugs, coming on the market in the way that they were, I was definitely skeptical. My view of them has changed, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. Here's what I think: how those of us in the health and wellness space can really use these drugs to help people. There are a lot of people who we have attempted to help who really let's take Oprah, for example. She's tried everything, right? It's not that she hasn't tried. It's just there has been something about her that has made it impossible for her to stick to it. And these medications have suppressed the drive for her to be hungry and the cravings and everything that was causing her to do nothing but think of food all the time. That is largely gone. And so I would say for you, if you're helping someone who seems to be just really struggling, refer them to their doctor to see if these drugs might help them. And then make sure that you stay very close to them, because we in the health and wellness space truly have to help them create those healthy habits that you've been so focused on, because otherwise this isn't going to stick. It's going to be another short-term fix that's not going to have life-changing results like they're looking for.
Thank you for your call.
Yes, I do have one last question now. So for people taking these drugs, right, for weight loss, have you ever had a client or someone that the drug just didn't work out for? They didn't lose the weight. It wasn't effective. How did that work out?
Yes, it is not common, but it does happen, and we don't really understand why. And even across multiple, like I know a few people that have taken multiple medications in the same class, and they have not seen the effects. They maybe dropped a few pounds, but not what you would expect to see. So it is rare, it's uncommon, but it can happen.
Gotcha.
Dr. Michael Smith, Chief Medical Officer of Ascent Medical. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
In summation, it does work. Is that yes?
Absolutely.
It absolutely is for people with type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
And it helps with blood sugar and all of that, correct?
Yeah, and it does decrease risk of even cardiovascular disease, right? Just because you're losing weight, you're losing unhealthy body fat that increases risk of a lot of things. So it is overall creating a lot of health for you.
But it is not just that's all you need to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. Where can they find out more or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can go to ascendmedical.com and you can even sign up for the weight loss plan there, the program, and just know that it's a comprehensive approach, because we're not coming at you with just the shot. Right?
You're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Please believe it. Thank you for joining us this morning. Dr. Michael Smith, along with the Big Ticket Morning Show with Jazzy McBee. We'll be back with more next on V103.